I'm now joined by Mike Nienaber, and got a little interesting down the stretch there, but nonetheless, it's win number 3 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously not having Adam out there made it more interesting, and especially the kind of game he was having.
Yeah,
you know, that was really tough, and I thought there were some really tough calls, but just seemed like there'd be a cluster of players banging and bumping, and every time they'd come out number 33.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, it's just like, you know, you'd like to see our players like that get the respect I've seen other players in this conference get over the years, but it is what we survived it, so I'm not. And the other good thing about it, and I felt like going into the game with the guys sick, I felt like the minutes that Jake would get were really a positive thing, and I thought Jake played really well, did a lot of really good things. He's just so physical. You know, he brings a physical presence that we don't have a lot of, and you know, he can bang, and he got a couple things that didn't show up in his stat line because he just kind of got in there, and sometimes he's like a bull in the china shop. He just kind of got in there and bumped and plunged and knocked balls loose, and Brad would pick it up and lay it in, or somebody else would get it. You know, he gives us a little bit of the physical presence that Jordan used to, and you know, a thing that we're missing so much. So, you know, I've been on myself all year about trying to getting more minutes, and you know, that's like I said, the silver lining of this is he had to play more and did a great job with it. We're still really frustrated with Luke. I just wish we could get him a little bit more lined out, and I keep thinking, you know, I know what Luke's capable of, and I just feel like if we can add that ingredient and get him clicking on all cylinders again sometime here in the month of February leading into March would be big for us.
Down the stretch there, you were able to get the ball into the right guy's hands, especially Jeff Larkin. He goes 16 of 18 at the free throw line, and that's, you know, he didn't shoot well for the field tonight, 4 of 15, but goes to the free throw line and just makes them one after another.
Yeah, I mean, that was major for us, you know, and the other thing this has been a big factor in the last 2 to 3 weeks, and actually even on the road trip where we the West Al Montevallo, which was a very rough road trip. Adam showed signs of doing what he's been doing. And it's like I turned to the guys on the bench at one point, I think after he hit about his third or fourth three, I said, you know, I am really a really good coach when Adam's making threes. I mean, it just, you know, I'm a whole lot smarter when those threes are going like that. It just makes everything so much easier for us. And so that's critical for us, you know, getting Jeff. Jeff had a lot of good looks tonight that just didn't go, but you know, he's the one guy, and another thing I kind of turned to the guys on the bench trying to get the young guys to buy in and think about it. Jeff, every practice this year, has stayed after shooting free throws. Every practice. Sometimes the girls are coming on after us, and he still kind of sneaks in there while they're stretching and gets some up just so he, you know, and I think, you know, it's clearly paid off big time, and, you know, it made tonight a lot easier because a lot of people weren't making them.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of 1-for-2s here and there, and you know, but he obviously kept that lead around 10, kept it comfortable there the last few minutes, especially with Adam sitting on the bench. And
then you get Brad Miller up to the 20-point mark as well, season high for him, and he didn't miss a shot from the field. 6 of 6 from the field.
He played. You know, he made big shots too. Every one of his threes in the first half, it was when we were building the lead. He hit some big ones. He hit a really big one in the second half when we were struggling. They were making the run, and you know, it popped to him, and he got that open look, and you know, played really well. I'm tough on him. He had 2 turnovers, and I'm killing him about both of them. You know, because I just thought they were both kind of careless, and the problem with us is, you know, we only had 9 turnovers, which isn't terrible, but every one of them gets scored. It's like every one of them winds up being a quick 3, or, you know, and tonight with those guys, a lot of them wound up being 3s. You know, a lot of their points, you know, I don't know how it wound up off a turnover. They had 14, but boy, it just seemed like, you know, and a lot of them turned into fast breaks.
Fast break points was 30-0.
Yeah.
Have you ever won a game losing fast break points 30-0?
Probably, because there's a lot of games when we have nothing on fast break points. So, but yeah,
you don't see that very often.
Yeah, that tells a lot about CBU basketball, the way we are. But you know, we don't get a lot of breaks. And once in a while, usually we'd get a couple off of turnovers and stuff, but it just didn't happen tonight. So crazy.
You kind of dodged some because they came in shooting 40% as a team from 3-point range. They go 8 of 28. They had some good looks that they didn't connect on it, and so that was good. But a lot of that too was your defense, and you kind of had them scrambling at times.
I think the biggest thing with them that we over the years, and this, unless we wind up playing in the tournament, this will probably be the last time we play them with them going D1 next year. The thing that's always been effective for us is what we talk about all the time, but I think it's especially with them, is just keep them on defense. Make them, don't keep putting the ball in their hands. And there was a couple times there, even in the first half, we got that lead to 20, and I felt like we came down, took a couple quick threes, and then boom, boom, they had two, and really there was 3 possessions there, and it went from 20 and could have gone to 11.
Yeah.
Like instantly, because they hit 2, and then fortunately they missed the next one, or it really, you could just feel it. And I'm like, guys, we're just putting it. They hit a couple, and we're putting it back in their hands, and they do. If you it's like I said before, you go down their roster, only other than the big guys, a couple of the big guys, they're all 3-point shooters. They're a lot like us as far as having a lot of guys that can shoot threes, and that's why they're dangerous. I mean, this team went into Huntsville and won. You look last week, they played West Florida and Valdosta. Both, one was an overtime, like a 2-point game.
Yeah, they lost 199 to Valdosta.
Yeah, it was a 1-point game, a 2-point game. They just swamped Montevallo earlier in the year. I mean, they have a lot of, they're good. I mean, they've got a lot of kids that can, and they're a very good offensive team. So you really have to kind of control it. And so many of the things they do, we can't guard. We just can't. They're quicker at every spot.
Yeah.
So it's just, we're constantly sagging and helping, and they're penetrating and kicking. And again, like I say, the best thing we can do is keep it out of their hands.
Yeah,
and
no doubt about it.
That's what we try. So.
All right, well, now it's on to Saturday, and look to try and make it 4 in a row and do what you wanted to do in this little stretch here at home.
And obviously we knew going into this stretch that one waiting for us at the end. Huntsville has been our, our biggest, problem over the years. It was one of our worst games this year. They were really ready to play in the game there. Lenny does a great job, and we struggle with him, but we got him in a big game here last year in that final week of the season. This one is in that same, it's not the last week of the season, but it's in the same cut as far as the importance of it, getting it, because we just can't, if we lose it, then they're going to have the tiebreaker on us, and we're all kind of so bunched up in the standings. I mean, it's always good after a win to go back and see what happened in the league, because if, hopefully a couple of good things will happen tonight where maybe the standings will shake a little bit in our favor. But this is clearly going to be a big, big game for us. And, hopefully we can close this homestand out like we talked about. And then, get ready. We're closing in. We got 16 now. I talked to the guys about this before the game, too, is, to me, pushing toward that 20 mark is really important to have that going toward tournament. And, obviously the more we get, the better.
No doubt about it. We'll see you on Saturday.
Okay, sounds good.
That's Mike Nienaber, head coach of the CBU Bucks.